Hello everyone, we are going to be running another Monster Train run. We're going into a new run at Covenant 11. So the reroll costs 20% more, pushes it from a 50 to a 60. That cost does not continue to increase. There are other things that cause other pieces of the merchant to move up in cost that does scale, but this is the first time the merchants are going to be a little bit less kind to us. There are 3 levels that we'll see. One of them is going to increase the removal cost, and one of them is going to increase the just general upgrade costs. And by the time all 3 of those things happen, we'll be looking at, instead of 20 gold for a basic upgrade, it's 25, and the both removal and rerolls will start at 60, and then reroll stays at 60, and everything else scales up from there. Okay. I think that's all we got to worry about for now. Everything else is pretty much the same. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, Awoken Hellhorn, we're on the alternate. I think this might be the first time we've seen Wilmington. He is a much more offensive unit than the Sentient, and he's got some very interesting upgrades. So let's see what they do. We've got a way to get ourselves some extra energy immediately, and we've got a way to give ourselves a little bit of armor and a little bit of bonus things. Seraph's going to eat her spells again. Arcus is going to spawn things that make us careful where we place our incants and where we lose units, which is actually important when we plan on blowing up our Queen's Implings. Arcus makes it to where sometimes that gives us Scourge cards. So this is sort of like a Fel light. Fel forcing the Scourge cards, and Arcus making it to where sometimes we'll get Scourge cards. And then Daedalus, the double explosives is actually pretty dangerous. That's 20 damage per bomb instead of less than that. So if we can take something that makes us kill them, that is something we will want to do, being as we have 0 damage spells and we're given 0 damage spells. So all good things to keep track of. Herzl's Horde is going to give us either 3 magic power or 4 stacks of armor each time it is applied. We have none of either. So we have nothing that uses magic power, and we have nothing that gives us armor except for Welder Helpers. So that being said, it is technically a useful thing immediate, so I think we take it. And 3 magic power is probably not going to win us the run, whereas I've absolutely seen Railhammer be a game-winning battering ram thing you guys should also have seen. So this is a way of actually giving us some damage spells. Sweep with Root, however, is so cool. So he's going to hit every unit in a row, and he will keep them there indefinitely. So I like that. We're going to do that. He basically makes relentless floors where one side is going to die. So this is a little awkward because them showing up on every floor means that, unfortunately, we'll take a little bit of damage, but we're only going to take 5, and then we'll take 6 to the core, because we'll get hit for 3 and 3. We'll go ahead with the Root Seeds there, and that actually takes care of our draw problems. That was a pretty cool thing. So this makes us draw 2 less next turn, and we cast 2 Root Seeds, which make us each draw 1 more each turn, so we're back to drawing 5. Which is fine. Totally fine. Okay, so we use our Welder Helpers here to give 24 armor there. We're pretty happy to do that. We can also save ourselves even more health by doing that, and now he takes only 6 because 1 guy is dead and he soaks 1. Everything is still dead because he's got sweep, so it's not like we're relying on spikes to kill things. So all we really want to do at this point is just make him as big and as nasty as possible, as he is going to be the thing that's killing our boss. He's our only unit that is worth really anything. We're putting the Welder Helpers in the back to give him the armor, because he is our only useful unit. Let's get these guys out of there. Let's get him somewhere where he can do a little bit of damage. And you notice that this guy isn't moving up and hitting the core, which is why we're not trying to care too much about killing things immediately. But it does mean that we have these like pretty crazy overloaded floors unless you're already doing a bunch of damage. So that is that. Okay, so we can't put any more guys out here, we can't put any more guys out here, and we're certainly not going to win on the middle floor, so we're just going to stack up as much damage as we can on the top. Okay. Easy win. It's really weird to already have 4 energy. I keep thinking that I've only got 3, and I'm playing like I've only got 3, but I have 4 because of Pyrogrow. So that is a real strong early pickup. I like that. Does mean that Sharpen becomes cool. Does mean that Sting becomes interesting. Because, well, the Sting is less interesting because Root Seeds is already making us grow our draw ability, and I think that actually pushes us toward taking space, which is really weird to be thinking about. Sharpen's pretty cool here. Being able to apply spikes is nice. And it does damage, so it's sort of like doubly helpful. Vine Grasp is the first targeted damage spell we have. Let's go with Sharpen. I think that plus armor is going to be the win here. We already have 2 Welder Helpers, right? Those are actually legit Welder Helpers, yeah. I think taking a 3rd might be a bit of a trap. Especially since we didn't... If we took the Vine Grasp, we could have used it to kill our own Welder Helpers, but we don't have anything to do that with yet. So I think not taking Welder Helper here is smarter than taking them. And we just look at it. Like, if we want to abuse the Welder Helper, what we need to do is just put Endless on it. At which point, then, obviously, he just kind of takes off on his own because we kill him and then bring it back. Let's take an Awoken Banner. More sweep units. I'm okay with this. It's not as exciting, but it's okay. Let's go with the Sweep Sleigh. That bonus can come up pretty usefully. Multi-strike on it does do some interesting things, so we'll go ahead and spend our money there. And then we'll just give him a little bit of extra health so that he doesn't immediately explode. Rage 7 is something that we don't need to worry about, but we can purge a Train Steward. Could technically purge a 2nd Train Steward, but I think if there's a store coming up, there's a Merchant of Magic here. Might actually try to go there. So let's save 75 coins, and worst case scenario, we use it later to purge a unit. Okay, them getting +4 is not super scary. It is scary, but it's not super scary. And we can look to take things out in ways that are useful to us. Once again, I think we just set up here on the top. This time we put Shattered Shell in front because we want it to get the sleigh bonuses wherever possible, which means also putting Sharpen on. Okay. So we can't do the thing where we put armor on units here, so we do have to be a little bit careful. Instead, we can do things like putting Queens and Queens out here. We can do things like putting a Train Steward out. And he will technically live just long enough to do 5 damage. So we don't have our bonus stuff yet. We're going to go ahead and start Root Seeds in the back because he's already going to kill these guys in 1 hit, so our main concern now is just sort of living just long enough to do some things. Okay, so Pyrogrow goes in here. Steel Enhancer goes here, so he's got to live just a little bit longer. Let's get 14 damage there, and we can start tanking this guy up here. Okay, very good. And we do this, and this, and this. And now we can actually finally do that. Okay, cool. Okay, very good. So this guy's going to kill himself on that. This guy's going to do a little bit of damage to himself, and then this guy's going to kill hit and take some damage. So what we probably want to do is we start Steel Enhancing this guy so that he lives a little bit longer, and we can actually provide some damage back to the boss by doing this, and that actually is enough to kill him. And then we can maybe increase our breakpoint. Nope. Okay, that's fine. We still win. It's pretty close. So we're gonna need to look for a way to heal. taking the words right out of my mouth. Fortify becomes better because of Railhammer. And Steelworker becomes better because of Railhammer. So actually, that's pretty strong as a combo. So we can put like Steelworker and Shattered Shell on a floor together, and then we can worry about putting Weldington in with somebody else. Like that. And then we just use our heal as a sort of backup kind of thing. Alright, so with that being said, do we have anything that we really want to duplicate? I don't know that we want to duplicate our Shattered Shell. Having one of them means he does some cool, like, I killed things and now I've got bonuses. But having two of them means that only one of them is going to get those bonuses, and the other one will just be a very sad 3x2. So that's not as cool as it could otherwise be. So I don't think that this path is quite as exciting. Let's go ahead and upgrade our spells. We actually have some good spells now. 20 magic power and consume only works on restoration detonation, and that is frightening. Sharpen, however, could be cheaper. Gaining permafrost is not terribly useful. So we reroll. Ouch, spend the money. That's okay. 10 magic power is very useful. Removing consume is not very useful. So we do that. And then I think we just go ahead and make something like root seeds free so that we can just sort of always cast it, or we can do something like making sharpening free. I don't really want to make restoration detonation free because I think because this is our only healing spell, we want to put holdover on it whenever we get the chance. So let's go ahead and upgrade our root seeds because this is a way for us to get bonus draw going. Alright, we have... this one is not like the Broken Down Train. This one you do only get one of, but it is guaranteed to be a rare pick, and it's not a single card. You actually get a choice of 3 things. So what we can do is we can look at everything except for Melting Remnant, because we've never played with them before, so we have no idea what there is. But Stygian Guard and Umbra are our 2 other choices. Let's go ahead and look at the logbook. This is not guaranteed to be spells, and it's not guaranteed to be consumables. Instead, what it is guaranteed to be is rare. So Umbra rares, we haven't seen a lot of them, but we have the possibility of getting triple. We have the possibility of... Is Making of a Morsel a rare card, or is it common? Yeah, Making of a Morsel is technically a common card. So even though the Morsel Miner itself is rare, the card that gives you one of those is common. We have no morsels, so getting a Wretch sucks. Forever Consumed is a way of doing damage, but it's only to the front unit. So we're less excited about that. Rare cards on Stygian Guard. Harness the Titan is actually kind of an interesting one. Offering Monument is kind of an interesting one. Ice of Pyre, we've already seen do some really good damage. These are, I think, enough for us to go ahead and take, so let's go ahead and go with Stygian Guard Rare. And we actually got both of those options. So here's the thing. Harness the Titan can only really, right now, be used with Restoration Detonation. Ice and Pyre, on the other hand, will be useful just always. And we're already doing something where on the top floor things are getting rooted, so being able to blow them up is cool. We're going to take that. I was pretty cold on Ice and Pyre before because I didn't think Pyre-bound things were useful, but it turns out that you set up on the top floor enough that making 90 damage to the front enemy unit on one floor is very easily worth the one cost to do so. Alright, so double bomb does mean that we lose a whole bunch of health if we choose to do so, but I think what we can do is this, and then we just push our Shattered Shell to the second floor, knowing that he's going to take out all these guys pretty easily, and then we just fortify this guy, and then we take no damage here because of breakpoints. Okay, cool. We get our Steelworker, that's great. We get our Pyre, that's great. We did not get the other thing that was going to give us more things to go, but that's fine. Oh, he's super dead. I really should have put him up there. It's too bad. Okay, how do we mitigate? How do we mitigate? How do we mitigate? 3, 6, 9, 12, 32. Ugh. Okay. I don't think we lost, but we just made it harder for us to win. I don't think we immediately abandon ship. I think instead what we do is we just invest heavily into making sure that this guy doesn't die, which is harder than it looks. He's not taking any damage. So we're going to forego one of our slay bonuses in order to save ourselves health. We're going to forego another slay bonus to save ourselves 10 more health. And we'll kind of give ourselves the slay bonus back. What we're overall looking for is a way for us to not have to deal with any of that stuff, but at least for now, hey, we can apply 24 armor there. We can apply sharpen to this guy so he does a ton of damage, and then we can also put the train steward here so that these guys do some damage into the train steward. He's in no danger of accidentally killing something. And then we're in pretty good shape. Are we thinking we're actually going to get a kill here, or is it probably going to go to the top floor? I think it's probably going to go to the top floor, but this being a ×2 is better early scaling, so we're just going to do that. Those guys skipped because of haste. Phooey. It's not great. But stand have been dealt, that's fine. Nice Empire goes in. That guy's dead. Unless I do this, which takes out the thing. He wasn't going to get a slay bonus on that anyway. This guy gets all of his kills. Let's get rid of that guy. Okay, that's unfortunate. Okay, cool. He still will step up. There's no weird things going on there. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. We're out of cards to play, even though we're not out of mana. Ice Empire does some fun things there. Oh, we're winning. We're winning. Yay. Okay, I like winning. Continue winning harder, continue winning harder, continue winning harder. Okay, good. Okay, so we didn't get punished for our earlier mistake, but we do certainly need to be careful of that. Applying Quick is going to be kind of cool. Spreading Spores is kind of cool, but I think probably we care more about armor. And applying Rage is neat, but not useful. Well, okay, I take that back. Spreading Spores is for us. It is for us a way to deal with Seraph the Diligent, and that I think is enough to take. We do have space for another unit. Another 2-space unit with Wildington, or another 3-space unit with Shattered Shell. So we could technically put Steelworker with Wildington and put somebody else in front of Shattered Shell. I don't know that Alpha Fiend or Demon Fiend are the ones to do it. Animus of Speed seems like a pretty interesting choice for putting it behind Wildington, but then he has to tank. So I'm going to skip all this. And then take more energy anyway, even though we already eventually get to 4, we don't get there that fast sometimes. So we don't need the extra health from Pyramanes. Herzl's Horde would be pretty cool, but we do have some units that desperately need upgrades in the form of Steelworker, and that's it. But we can get another unit here and maybe get something that can go with Wellington. What do we got? Take another Steelworker. Resolve 9 is good. Multi-strike. I don't care about putting multi-strike on Steelworkers. They are tanks. They are not anything other than tanks for us. So let's skip that. 10 and spikes 3 is fine. 25 is fine. Do we overload this guy immediately so that if we can get another bonus? I think we do that. I think we make this guy as big as possible and then understand that our next move is to get bonuses on the other guy. And then we remove the train steward because we said we were going to. Not real exciting. That was a disappointing floor. Would have been real nice to get other things. Enchanting Granting Quick is cool. Otherwise, he just gets a little more health, but we already found a frontline for him, so now we can make him more of a DPS. And also, him being quick and Enchanting Granting Quick means that we can take out that top floor pretty much before they hit us most of the time. Okay. So him doing 10 times 2 will in fact kill this guy, which is all we really care about right now. And then we could do this just to make sure he doesn't accidentally perish. Oh good, he gets an extra bonus. So who needs the bigger immediate boost? Gaining armor 9 isn't enough to take care of that, so let's go ahead and put him here. We'll put him here. It gives an extra turn worth of tanking time. We'll put him here to die. And we're pretty much done until the second time this thing's come around. Okay, so good stuff so far. Do that, we can give him some more spikes, that's totally fine. And I think we just start applying damage as rapidly as possible to this guy while still getting rid of as many of these guys as possible. Okay, we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot. And we really don't worry about the top floor because all that's going to happen is we're going to just continually root guys that are up here. And so as long as we can mostly kill like half the guys down here, we're in good shape. So 62 damage, we need to do 65. Not yet happening, now it's happening. 1, 2, 3. So I would like to get a way to sacrifice an imp or get rid of an imp or otherwise do something with an imp because it's really annoying to not be able to get any of that going. Instead, let's apply some armor there because this is our kill floor. This is probably our backup kill floor, and this is our why are we even here floor. Those guys are actually dead, so I can now boost Waldington. And hey, he's fast, so we actually only have to do one thing. Cool. Okay, he's missing a whole bunch of health. He is not, so now he's not losing any health. And our kill floor has already shifted. I think with that we can refocus on this one. Okay, cool. Ice and Pyre would get cast, but we don't care. Sharpen can get cast there. Put that there. Now he's no longer even losing anything. Now he's losing a little bit more because he just loses all of his armor. And we cast Ice and Pyre anyway just to add some insult to injury, and we're in pretty good shape. Cool. Okay. Nice. So that's the 4th battle taken care of. We're a little low on artifacts, but we're doing fine otherwise. Don't need a second one of those, don't need one of those. Bramble Lash does do a fair bit of damage, and we don't have any other damage spells except for Restoration Detonation. We're going to be putting a lot of spikes on things, so Bramble Lash is pretty good. March of Shields is cool, but I think we're already pivoting a little bit. Fortify is never a bad spell, but Spreading Spores means that regen starts to be a lot more of our game. That being said, we can use March of Shields to push imps to the front, so we can cast the Welder Helpers and then move them to the front. Then they tank for like 1 hit and die, and then we have space to put them back out. I'm okay with that. Okay, we got enough money to actually pick up an Unstable Vortex and getting a Trinket. Seems good, but what are we going to give up if we do that? We get a free Trinket over on the other side, and Pyre remains, which we don't need, and we can go over here to a Merchant Steel afterwards. So let's do this. Things that we immediately don't care about are Train Stewards. Now that those are gone, we can start focusing on the other things in our hands, like the imps. Rage not decaying on friendly units would only be cool if we're doing anything with rage, which we are currently not. Applying rooted to the enemy units on the top floor is cute because we're already doing that. Cursed Vine swaps things, and that's cute because we have sweep. So none of these things are really good for us. Gaining 1 per stack of spikes is hilarious. And spikes dealing extra damage per stack is also hilarious because Bramble Lash plus spikes plus spreading spores plus sharpen means that we're doing a lot of spikes things. So really the question is, do we want to make spikes themselves do more damage, or do we want to actually give those units +1 attack? That's tough. Because we only get one of them. If we got both, then obviously that would be a no-brainer, and I would totally take that. I think this means it's far more likely that we kill things early on when we only have 4 stacks of spikes. Things might have 5 health, and then all of a sudden we still do 8 damage. Giving them +6 does mean that those little stealth guys are going to do a lot of damage, but we can look to maybe take them out before it matters. If he's quick, so that's a choice. Let's talk through our decision-making process here again, so that we don't forget to do that. If we do quick, we take out those guys before they matter. However, what that means is that the multi-strike dude is not getting stacks. And if he is, it's because we have put him on the same floor as Wildington, which means I guess all of our steelworkers go up top, which is fine. We're going to have units coming up that have like 85 health. And we're not going to be able to very quickly get to the point where we're doing 85 damage, is my only concern. I think this steelworker has to go up here regardless, and I think my Shattered Shell has to go here regardless. The only other question is if Wildington goes here, or if Wildington goes here. And if Wildington goes here, I can put the Welder Helper here and vice versa. It's a pretty big gamble to say that this 35 health is going to be enough, but let's try it. And then we can always yell at ourselves later if things go very, very poorly. Let's give him some armor just because I'm scared. Okay. Let's see how badly we get punished, but otherwise we are in a shape that approaches brown. So obviously our root seeds are going in here because he's got ×2. Obviously this guy is going in a place where he can just die. Alright, we're going to get 3 bonuses for our Slay, so he'll do an additional 18 damage next turn. It's pretty cool. Him being fast means we didn't take any damage from all that stuff, which is good. But he's now going to take 12, which is ouch. And he'll be stuck here and do more damage next time. So that is a thing that is going to occur. So no damage happens here. I don't actually want to kill anybody here, and the reason is that if I do that, that's less Slay bonuses for this guy. And the more Slay bonuses he gets, the more likely he is to wipe out guys that matter. Okay. 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 So we can start doing this stuff. Alright, we made it. He's angry. He's still going to take a lot of damage, so I still worry about it, but it's less than it would otherwise be. He's the one that we want to protect. Let's get rid of some spells, cards. Okay, so our healing isn't doing anything for us because we didn't actually effectively take any damage, but that means we also win pretty comfortably. Give a little bit of armor to this guy just to see if he lives. He does. Cool. Alright. That's cool. So I think we can already see getting big heals isn't really what we're aiming for. And if we are, then we have Restoration Detonation to cover us. Pyre Shard certainly does a thing to give us some spikes. Preserve Thorns certainly does something to give us a little bit more draw and a little bit of damage. And those things are real exciting. March of Shields is good, but we have one. I think we're already kind of rolling on just making the stuff that we have better rather than worrying too much about adding more things. I would like to be able to modify our spiky things soon. Merchant of Magic, though, is at the next floor in an advantageous position, so we can go here and maybe make our other Steelworker better. Let's get rid of a couple of Queen Zimplings. I think obviously they're doing absolutely nothing except drawing themselves and then getting blown up on the bottom floor. Endless is pretty good for a couple of things. We can either use that to abuse Welder Helper and then kill him with something, which means we still need to get something that can kill him, or we can put it on a Steelworker, and I'm less excited about that. Let's do that on a Welder Helper and hope for the best there. Let's go ahead and put 25 in the Steelworker and hope for the best there. And then the plus 10, I don't think matters. Reroll Multi-Strike. Multi-Strike goes on Steelworker in some cases, but I think we just tank him up a little bit more. And then we call that good. And then we just save our money. We can remove units, we can remove things, but I think overall what we are doing right now is trying to econ our way to victory, knowing that we have some pretty strong other options. This is another time where we can look to make decisions between quick and sweep. I think this one we're much more likely to need Wildington on the top floor, only because he's going to do so much damage, we have to figure out a way to get bonus armor on our Steelworkers. Since he has spikes, we're going to put him up top with Wildington. I'm going to put the Shattered Shell here. And knowing that we may or may not get our Steelworker means that we can... might have to put our Welder Helper... I mean, this goes here, obviously. We can put our Welder Helper here and go ahead and tank a little bit with the Shattered Shell. But it also fills that floor, and we have no way of getting rid of it except for March of Shields. I think that's good enough to do. We really absolutely don't want this guy to die. Okay, cool. So we did get Steelworker, we did get March of Shields, we got this thing, we got kind of everything all in one hand who can actually cast it all, which is really surprising. The rest of our deck is useful for sure, but it's not something that we are as excited about as these 5 cards here. So, Steelworker going in front is fairly obvious. Real question is whether or not we go ahead and move our Welder Helper up. He will technically live one more day this way, but it does give us an extra turn or so to really get this guy stacking on armor. We add more damage, and we apply spikes. Applying the spikes is a really poor decision. Because that means those backlines are going to kill themselves now. Well, there's no going back on that one, so we are kind of on our own there. This is obvious, this is what we do there. That's the whole point of taking the spell. Let's put the Queen's Impling out there so it can die. And yeah, we're going to put that there, and we're going to put that there regardless of the fact that, yeah, he gained some stuff. Totally okay. Yep. All that is fairly obvious for it to occur. That'll do 30 damage, which is technically more than the 10 he gets. Oh, hey, cool. This will allow him to die and also give this guy rage, but it also means that he has more armor to work with. That guy gets some more damage to work with. This guy gets to die. Yeah, we need to get rid of our last two Queen's Implings. They're obviously completely crap. I'm okay with taking 6 there. Let's just get some more armor. Quickness on the top floor means we don't have to worry about that. Casting spells here is worrisome. Boy. What do we want to do? We probably want to go ahead and put our Wilder Helper out. Let's get some more armor there. And, you know, since we can't cast spells up on there, let's go ahead and do it here. Let's go ahead and do that. And now we can actually cast the spell here. And then it no longer affects things. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and put our Spreading Spikes out. Let's go ahead and put our thing out there. Obviously the spikes themselves are not, you know, doing it for us in terms of damage, but they are certainly doing it in terms of our ability to do damage. Sorry, the damage from the spikes is not doing anything, but the damage from the +4 is. Okay, that guy's actually finally did some damage to our front line. That was known, that was a thing that we knew that could happen. Once again, totally fine. Casting spells up here hurts. Let's make sure we cast all the things that we care about ever casting again down here. He comes out on the next round. So I think this guy going out in the front is probably our best bet. And then we cast... All of that stuff is dead, so we really don't have to worry about it. Let's get some Spreading Spores going. Okay. And he dies, which is great. That is actually what we were aiming towards. We were aiming towards this guy getting the kill, which I think he is. So let's make him as absolutely large as possible. Let's get him a few more stacks of regen, even though the regen itself isn't going to do anything. Really what we care about is the fact that the spikes are going to do something. And then we just probably try to eke it out with a little bit more armor. That's a full extra turn. And we have already won. Excellent. Let's make sure that this goes as smoothly as possible. 180 damage is a super nice bonus. Okay, so we lose our front line, but that's what they exist for. They exist so that Shattered Shell can do his damage. Cool. Because we have an Endless Imp, what we really want to see is something like a... oh, Transcendent was fun. What we really want to see is something like a important work or something that sacrifices an imp, and we can kind of abuse that. Oh, these are all such good cards, but maybe not in this deck. Repeating all summon effects triggered so far this game can apply an absolutely inordinate amount of armor, but it does mean that we have to get rid of the imp in order to do it. I think that's just not where we are, so I think we skip. One Horn's Tone gets an honorable mention. Adding multi-strike is super fine, except that you have to make sure that the unit never ever takes damage ever again. I'm just not willing to play that game. I can apply additional space. Don't think I need to. I think I already have a couple of floors that are about as good as they're gonna be. And I think if I instead take more energy, then I'm far more likely to be able to do things like double stack my Spreading Spores. Holdover is pretty fantastic. but I'm not sure where I would put it. Interesting. 20 magic power and consume is totally fine to go ahead and put on restoration detonation now, since we have spreading spores. Which, by the way, we're going to go ahead and make cheaper because we know that we need to. Adding holdover is something that we think about doing with March of Shields, I think. Or we can think about doing with Ice Empire again, knowing that it's never going to get... or maybe we just do it with Root Seeds. No, that seems super long. We don't want it on Steel Enhancer, we don't really want it on Sharpen, we don't really want it on Fortify because Armor 9 is a little bit weak. But Holdover on Armor 14 is okay. Holdover on Bramble Lash is a lot of damage. We can also just skip Holdover. That is a thing that we can do. It's not an unattractive option necessarily, but it's also not the most sexy option. What do we think we need? I think we need to reroll. Man, I love Holdover so much, but I don't think it's what we want. Man, that hurts so badly. I really want to get to a point where I can cast some of this stuff more. Okay. We're just going to have to econ, save it up, and get something else. Summon abilities triggered an additional time. Seems super great. Yeah, let's purge a card, gain a card. We're getting rid of Queen's Influence anyway, so get thee out of my thing. Well, once again, let's look at the logbook, and we can check our cards. And we get rare Hellhorn cards or rare Awoken cards. So Impalate is one of them that is rare. That does not actually sacrifice an imp. That's unfortunate. Consumer of Crowns is not something we want to cast. Alloy of the Ancients might be something we want to cast. Last Stand is certainly number 3 or 4 on the list of things that would be hilarious but aren't good in this deck. Reinforce is fine. Doubling the amount of armor can certainly give us a pretty big bonus. Channel Song is useless here. Cycle of Life is good. I would take a Cycle of Life. Wildwood Tome is good. I would take that. Okay, so I think we take the rare Awoken card. Yeah. So this gives us the ability to quicken the guy on the second row. Even though the first row, the top row is going to have Wellington, the second row can actually have quick unit 2, which is cool. Then we want Multi-Strike. I think Multi-Strike is an obvious choice here. Okay, so we've got 2 floors worth of really good units. We've got 1 floor that gets no units. Well, right now it gets like a Impling, Queen's Impling to be specific. These guys are going to go up a floor and provide multi-strike. We're going to consume to apply quick. He's going to gain armor 9. He's going to do that thing, and restoration detonation does nothing. Okay. Okay, so he's already doing the fast thing. That's totally okay. Let's make him do the fast thing harder. Let's go ahead and fortify this guy because that hurts. Let's go ahead and give this thing the thing. And we can put a welder helper out. We put a welder helper out front. Might do that. Yeah, let's do that. And that gives him +9. He can take all the damage. Wow, 48 armor is super nice. This plus that is a lot of armor, as you can see. Yeah, so we got our collector bonus. We're not proud. I didn't do it in a very cool looking way or anything like that, but it happened. It's all that technically matters. These guys are all sticking around. Now this guy isn't sticking around, and this guy will, by the time he attacks, only do 10 damage, so that's cool. Really want to start killing things. There we go. Let's get some more spikes going on this guy. Okay, so we're off to the races as far as just like total damage dealt, but we do need to make sure that this guy doesn't die, but other than that, we're kind of just in a holding pattern until this guy dies and we put out another. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the top floor sucks. Top floor is very, 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 very angry. We can mitigate that pretty considerably by doing that. We can do that. We can do this. We're killing 2 units at a time, and we're doing it very quickly, so the only damage that's coming in is like 10 damage to him, and then he takes -1 there, so that's okay. I think we actually... Oh, yeah, this is good. So this saves us 10 armor there. Oh, no, it doesn't do that. That's okay. Still want to cast it anyway. Doing that makes us very, very close to getting to a point where that guy dies before it matters. Good. We can Restoration Detonation to take that guy out. We can apply spikes and damage. We can apply armor to this guy. Apply damage to that guy. And then I think we just like overload spikes on this guy, because I think it's going to come down to us not actually killing on this bottom floor. Middle floor, whatever. This floor. Don't think we're killing him. We are really close to killing, actually. That's a huge amount of damage. Okay. So that means we can go ahead and just sink in extra damage this way, and we win. Fantastic. Okay, let's not... So the reason we didn't put spikes anywhere here is not just for these units of accidentally killing themselves. They weren't going to do that, but what we were worried about is every time he takes damage, he does more damage, and we don't want him getting the damage bonus off of spikes. So we're done. Because even reaction damage counts for giving him a revenge ability. And we would have loved to have killed that little imp right there, because he was providing an extra... He was only doing 1 damage, but he was providing the enemy an extra bonus hit power every time he smacked him, so that's not very effective. These are not things that we need. This is something that we absolutely love and adore. We are taking important work. We got it on the absolute last possible chance, but that's all that matters, is that we got it. Okay, so this guy can go away. One of these can go away. And then we hope for removal of consume. No. We hope for... Oh, you know what? 20 magic power and consumes a thing. No, we don't. I don't care about that. -1. We'll go ahead and put on March of Shields. So we can cast it for free. That seems nice. Let's roll again and hope for none of those things. That stinks. Okay, so at that point we just want to make Spreading Spores free. We never did get double stack, so it's too bad. But them's the breaks. Oh, you know, we could put... I don't know if Ice of Pyre is really necessary here anymore, so we can just go ahead and make it do a whole lot of damage and get out of our hand. We could even remove Consume from it and make it cost 2, but I don't think that's useful. Let's leave and go to the Merchant of Trinkets, see what happens there. When a friendly unit is healed, deal damage. Not really necessary. When you summon a second unit during a turn, gain 3. Again, probably not really necessary. And we don't want to accidentally junk up our middle floor. Gaining 2 on Slay is good. And then Pyre getting extra bonuses is pretty junky as well. So what we want to do is Hellvent things that are going to be useful. And that is probably going to be our... Well, Pyre Grow is no longer really necessary with Spreading Spores being free. So instead, I think what we want to do is make Bramble Lash come up a little bit more often, since we are going to be applying an awful lot of Spreading Spores with that. Or we could make sure Important Work comes back. We didn't get Holdover either, which would have been pretty cool to put on Important Work, because then he and the Endless guy here would have gone very nicely together. Alright. Let's make sure this comes up in a useful manner. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of money that we can do something with. Removing consume and costing +1. Where does that become useful? Not here, not really here. So we could purge cards, or we can go to the merchant trinkets and do what? Just make the pyre angrier? I mean, getting 40 bonus pyre health just helps us not die, in case things get past, which they probably won't. And we'll get 15 damage for whatever reason. That's fine. Excuse me. None of that is important at all. These guys are applying annoying things to us, so I would like to kind of put this guy on the bottom. I don't know if we can. Well, we can, because he won't die. Yeah, it does consume this thing, but I think it's worth it. Okay, so he goes on the bottom, he goes right next to him. He will kill these bottom 2 units, so hooray. So we're doing first and third instead of bottom and or middle and top. It is what it is. Okay, Steelworker goes here. He is existing. Let's get that there. That's our only sharpen. Let's not take damage and then choose whether or not we want to sharpen. Applying 4 is more useful now than it is later, so maybe we just go ahead and do it. It's fine. Okay, so we're already starting to get to the point where, okay, this is good, this is good. We finally got something that actually has consume naturally on it. This guy can get out of the way, that's cool. Now we can put more armor on him, that's great. We can start putting spores on this guy, that's super great. We can do damage with the spores, that's super great. And the steel enhancer is no longer getting rid of itself, so... Okay. We're not done yet, but we're certainly doing better. Consume is good there, now he's quick. So we no longer have to take the damage before he goes boom, boom, boom. And we can do the root seeds thing, we can do the endless bits there. And everybody being quick means that that guy just does 10 damage. But then it heals 1 to 3 gens, so we're okay. Going to be just a little bit before all of this kind of like comes up to its maximal opportunities here, but we are quickly approaching the point where things are very nice for us. By the way, important work works with Endless such that because he goes to the top of the draw pile, it drawing the card will always give him the Welder Helper back, so every time we draw our important works, this guy gets to just bounce back in, which is kind of nice. Okay, so here we get to look to see if we're at any breakpoints. We're not really at any important, like if he does 29 times 2 versus 34 or 33 times 2. That's not going to kill this guy, and it's not going to do anything to him before he gets a chance to attack, so he's just going to attack once anyway, so we might as well just go ahead and keep boosting this guy. Because the bottom floor is where we're going to want to do the absolute most damage as possible. Being as we have other things we can do elsewhere. This is already attuned with Consume, so let's get that bad boy in there. Let's get a whole bunch more armor on this front guy by doing this literally twice. Yep. Yes, please. We get some more Spreading Spores action going here. We get another Steel Enhancer action going here. And I think we can start looking towards actually doing like Steel Enhancer as a sacrificial thing. But I don't think we have to care. I think we're basically done at this point. Let's go ahead and sacrifice our root seeds that cost something. Let's go ahead and put our other root seeds on that cost something. And we will March of Shields this guy, and then we will Spreading Spores up here. Everything is super alive and super amazing. This guy does a lot of damage, and we already win, so that's super great. we'll consume this to give him armor 9. Probably could have done that far earlier. Not worried about it. Let's do 110 damage there, just because we can. Alright, GG. We got through pretty easily. I think spreading spores was not really the ticket to success here, honestly. The Welder Helper and Railhammer and where is it? Ashes of the Fallen was what gave us our W there, along with a guy that got himself up to 90-something damage per hit, and he got multi-strike, so multi-strike can be pretty obviously helpful. Alright. So we go up to Covenant rank 12. Major bosses have more health. That's going to make Daedalus, Fel, and Seraph more tanky, in addition to their alternate variations. We got exactly 2 card backs. Why? Shouldn't we have gotten, like, root seeds too? Oh, maybe we hadn't. Oh, we had won with root seeds before when it was our alternate clan and we didn't have Wildington. Okay, that's fine. Well, very good. Hopefully we all learned something, and if not, at least you had fun. Catch you on the next one, guys.